Good afternoon. This is Arlo Johnson in Vernon, BC, coming to you at 4 p.m. on February the 5th, 2030, 2024, pardon me. I'd like to, kind of go over something. I think I've said this before, but you know, comparing over my lifetime how things have changed. Like a lot of people don't think that it has changed. The life they live, they believe, has always kind of been that way. Whether you're 18, 28, 58, doesn't matter. But after, I've lived since 1934 to 2024, on 10 years short of a century. Well, that's quite a while. Things do change. And believe me, there's been no change for the better. In mechanical and, material goods and stuff like that, that has changed. That has improved, new, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I mean, great strides in that. But the family has deteriorated from what it used to be. And there's no fear of God by anybody, very few, less all the time. And the whole idea that there is a judgment coming for the people on this planet just goes that way. Right now, if you're watching the news and on the internet and all that, you do have to separate out the BS and whatever is actually happening. In most cases, it's a little bit of both, and you have to sift it out. And if something, perseveres pretty long the same old line of doing this, doing that, they're doing this, oh, they're doing that here, and they're doing it over here too, blah, blah, blah. Well, that means there's a drift towards something different, either up or down. And in most cases, it's going down. Cities are going down. People are starting to run cities with a total disregard for what used to be, family-friendly cities and stuff like that. Not anymore. No, it's getting, there's more devious and deadly things going on in big cities, mostly in big cities, than ever before. And I've just shaken my head a lot of times and say, how can this keep getting like this? How can this, what is this? Can't get any worse than this, can it? And I've come to the conclusion, yes, it can. And it will. God will allow it to do that to such an extent that he'll have to step in to stop people from absolutely destroying everything. When you hear about things going on in, you could say high places or whatever. I just heard the other day that King Charles, who took over from Queen Elizabeth after her death, he's about 75 years old, and I understand that he's suffering now from cancer of the prostate and being treated for that. Some people can get treated for it. There's been a lot of people die from prostate cancer because it spreads. Now that doesn't, for some reason, I feel a little uncomfortable saying this, but that doesn't surprise me. because I don't believe he is, destined to be a great king or anything like that. He's a fill-in, and he was, never. I don't believe. I'm just speculating this. Now, don't take it for. I can't prove anything, but I think that he will expire, and William, his son, will be the next king, most likely, for the rest of the period of time that affects people. It says in the Bible that, I don't know where it says it, but that there will always be a descendant of I don't know, King David, or how it works, on the throne. And the only throne they kind of can talk about that way is the English throne. The English throne is supposed to be going all the way back to King David. The Bible claims that when the new world starts and the people of this planet are separated out, it mostly talks about the 10 tribes of Israel, whatever then, and that King David will be over them in this world to come. Again, that's a different thing. It's just that there's a lot in the Bible that says things like this that makes me wonder, and kind of in amazement, really. I mean, is this the people that are going to run the world in the future? Is that who it's going to be? The white race? The tribes of Israel? The 10 tribes of Israel who created it basically must be the white race. That's who ended up in Europe and all over. I don't want to speculate too much on that because it doesn't do me much good to do that. But to me, it's when the Bible talks about plainly up front about things like that, maybe that's God's plan. When Jesus was born and they grew up in Israel, he said that he was born and he was here to do something for the lost 10 tribes of Israel. Anyway, putting that aside, I was listening to an interview on, I don't know what news network it was, but they were discussing the politics of the United States and how dire it is. That they were discussing the fact that the Democratic Party, or the left, or whatever you want to call them, has said they will not tolerate Donald Trump from being the next president of the United States. And he was pointing out that they've tried every means of discrediting him, in the public, through courts and this and that. They've got him, I don't know how many different charges against him now, and he's fighting them all. And he says, if that doesn't work, he said, I believe, he said, they will murder him. And then he says, just to make it look even, they'll murder the Democratic president too. Now, people will hear something like that and go saying, psh. But I'll tell you, people do not realize the depths of evil I don't know what else to call it. It's just devilish stuff. And that it has grown to that point where some of them claim they want to destroy the population of the earth down to 500 million from 8 billion. All kinds of things. And the people that are doing this, you know, it's not that I can't believe that. I do believe it because how evil people can be. Most people think they're living in just a nice little cow pasture someplace where everything's just calm and nice. And you know, you get up and you go to bed, and you get up and go to bed, and that's it, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's like a cauldron of stuff, evil stuff. Now, I would say that I'm not predicting this or anything else, but should something like that happen, that would be one of the saddest things I think I would ever have to live through with everyone else. That we are at that point, which means that this age is counted, and it could start just about any time, and you know exactly what will happen. Once it starts, you know when the end of this age is. It's 7 years absolutely later. Not until then. And there's things that still have to happen for it to start, according to the Bible anyway. But I mean, we're living in an age right now where maybe it's not possible to have a governing system that is anywhere near fair or honest. And the problem is the gullibility of the public. When I look at people and I listen to people and I watch them, and I cannot believe that they are so naive. They don't have a clue. They honestly don't. They talk like they think they have, but they really don't. They can be swayed so easy that it isn't even funny. They can be lied to on Tuesday, be mad about it on Wednesday, and believe it again on Friday. Now, the population of this world is going down. Countries are going down. Imagine Canada is basically I think you have to have a 2.1 children per family, woman, whatever, to keep the population even and I guess growing a little bit. If you don't, you go the other way, you're going down. And I'm sure we're below that. And the United States is below that. Japan is like 1.2 instead of 2.1. And the population is aging, just the same as it's doing in Canada, and certainly in the United States, and in big strides in England, London, England, different. It's just that's why all these things that have contributed to that have caused it. They finally caused it. You know, you kill your own children, you bring in strangers, it causes it. That's it. You've lost your country, you lost your culture, whatever. And it's your fault. Nobody's done it except. Now, they only do it because they believe something. Where that belief comes from, well, that's what the person has to decide. Because God does not promote that. So who does promote that? Who is the influencer that does that? God plainly said that Satan is the influencer. He can't really force you to do anything, but he can influence you to such an extent that you do it. And I think that's scary. But our lifespan is only so long. I don't know how it is. Mine has been lasting pretty good. But the to me, it's we know that we are not going to live forever. We know that we are actually going to die, and we all know that. Some of us did. We never think about it that much, but it's a fact. We don't know when. We know we're going to die, but we don't know when. Not exactly. And I suppose that's done for a reason. I guess if we knew when we were going to die, things would be a lot different. Yeah. But the danger we're living in now, each day is getting a little more dangerous, to personally and to the world. And it's driven by politics, and it's driven by evil that just increases in the heart of man. And it's sad. My biggest problem is it drives me nuts when I see them doing things like, doing bad things you hear about, and yet I can't do a thing about it, and I should not let it do that, because it just upsets me. The girl that works at the office out at where I go, Desert Cove Estate, said her son has moved home. He's 28 years old. He was living with a girl. Her father gave her enough money to make a down payment on a condo or a townhouse or something. And she's going to give him a certain amount of money, and he's going to move out because they're not going to live together anymore. So he can't hardly afford rent. And he's working, and he's got a fairly decent job, in a way, yeah. Not just a shovel job. He's got a fairly good job. And but he's gonna have to live at home again. And I told her, I said that this really makes me mad. I hate that. That a young man like that has no chance. Right now, this generation just doesn't have a chance. They can't buy a house. They can't start a family. They can't do that because they can't afford it. There's no way. And in a way, I'm thinking to myself, and I said to her, in a way he might be lucky, and if times change better, he may be lucky that he hasn't bought a $700,000-800,000 house and a $700,000 mortgage. Because, how is he going to pay for it? And if my guess is any good, I'm guessing that this will carry on yet for a while. It will still inflate and whatever, still have inflation, and things will go up. But like anything else, things will come to an end. And there will be an adjustment. Because there's going to be an adjustment of some kind. It's going to be a harsh one, I think. When an owner of a business owners, not all businesses, but of fairly large companies and whatever, makes 700 times what their average employee makes. So that, by 3rd of January, they made more money than their employee makes all year. That's not right. If left to its own left to its own events, it's going to balance out. It's going to happen because something's going to give, and it'll have to level out. So I would say to somebody that your only safety to tell the truth, there is no other safety around, is to believe what Jesus Christ and God has said. Don't believe anybody else. I don't believe anyone else anymore. I can't, because they're being deceived. That's what, if you remember, or if you've never heard it before, I'll tell you right now, that's the last thing that Jesus Christ said when he rose from this planet and was leaving. He said to his disciples and those that were watching him, he says, do not be deceived. Now that's pretty strong warning. He said, well, deceived about what? Do not be deceived. In other words, what I've told you is the truth. Don't believe something else. And that, I think, is the best advice anyone living in this time now can have. That's if they take it. And there's a good chance that most aren't going to take it. Trouble is, they don't realize they have no future. If you don't do that, there is no future for you. None. And that's, you live whatever you live now is the best you're going to get. You better realize that. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that. It's time to go for supper. So I would say thank you very much for listening, and I would like to ask God to bless you all, every single one of you. Thank you.